Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dissect the complex world of corporate filings. Today, we are diving into Rocket Lab's latest 10K report. Are they still aiming for the stars, or are they running into a bit of space debris? Let's find out because, frankly, what goes up must come down, or at least file paperwork about it. Rocket Lab's mission statement is quite straightforward. They want to make space accessible to improve life on Earth. What does that even mean? Well, they're not just launching rockets, they're trying to be an end-to-end space company. That includes everything from building the spacecraft to managing them once they're in orbit. Rocket Lab is a big player. Their Electron rocket has been busy, launching over 200 spacecraft. That's a lot of satellites. It's like the space version of a delivery service. But they're not stopping there. They're working on a bigger rocket called Neutron. This one could carry much heavier loads, even people. That puts them in competition with the big boys like SpaceX. Of course, this is not without risk. They identify key risks that can harm the company and operations. One of Rocket Lab's key strengths is its flight heritage, meaning their rockets have a proven track record of making it to space successfully over a sustained period. That is a big deal in the rocket business, where things can sometimes blow up. This is one of Rocket Lab's competitive advantages. They are proud of the technology they are making. It is the way that they compete with other companies. Rocket Lab wants to be a one-stop shop for space missions. Instead of hiring multiple vendors, Rocket Lab seeks to handle everything. To continue growing, Rocket Lab is expanding into new kinds of launch services. Neutron is important to expand its market share and revenue. Rocket Lab hopes that Neutron will bring them success in the medium-lift launch vehicle category. Conferences and industry events have been a driver of sales. Rocket Lab relies on the industry to get sales leads. Software and systems are important to make sure the processes are efficient and accurate. This helps them manage the design, sourcing, and building of their products. Their manufacturing operations follow best practices in quality control and worker safety and have achieved Category 1 certification by NASA's Launch Services Program. Their headquarters in Long Beach, California is the central hub for manufacturing, administration, and engine development. Rocket Lab is planning for the future. They made sure that their test complex can be used through 2054. Like any space company, governmental regulation is very important and affects Rocket Lab's capital, revenue, and competitive position. Many of their business development team members have vast experience in government agencies and space companies. They have an understanding of the market and connections to help grow the business. Rocket Lab faces competition from a lot of companies, from dedicated launch providers to spacecraft solution businesses. Intellectual property is the key to their business. They have over 200 patents and over 12 registered trademarks. A few areas that Rocket Lab focus are fostering and growing talent and offer internship opportunities. A safe working environment is a top priority. The employees are empowered to identify and correct hazards. Rocket Lab must be aware of the federal acquisition regulation. Failure to follow these procedures can result in contract termination. In fixed-price contracts, Rocket Lab bears the risk of increased costs. Rocket Lab recognizes that the war in Ukraine could have an adverse impact on their current operations. There is always the risk that new technology development could be unfruitful or not meet market needs. Some of their competitors get protective measures from their governments. This could result in increased pressure on their pricing. Rocket Lab needs to be able to manage acquisitions and divestitures. They hedge risk with capped call transactions, however it is possible that those don't operate as expected. Rocket Lab understands the importance of growing talent and have supported individuals impacted by layoffs and providing hiring events. They use social media and filings with the SEC to broadcast information about launches and updates about the company. Time to look at the numbers. Rocket Lab's revenue jumped to $436.2 million for 2024, a big increase from $244.6 million the prior year. Their net losses were $190.2 million. So, while they are making more money, they are also still losing money. A few major customers make up majority of their backlog and revenue. A loss of one could mean financial difficulty. Rocket Lab needs to be able to maintain significant government operations to have a material effect on their revenue, and so government shutdowns are a huge risk for their revenues. Like many companies, they rely on single vendors. If those vendors can't deliver, that hurts Rocket Lab. The rocket business is a risky one. Launch failures can happen, and those can cost them money and reputation. Rocket Lab needs to be able to operate their launches to have a successful business. They will need to adapt to changing conditions in the industry to keep up. The National Industrial Security Program is important for classified programs. They will need significant expenditures for capital improvements to maintain operation facilities. They have significant lease obligations that need to be met. Rocket Lab has acknowledged that natural disasters may damage their facilities, which could have a material adverse effect on their business, financial condition, and results of operations. Space is a harsh environment, and their rockets could encounter extreme space weather events that affect the performance. Their capped call transactions are complex, but there is risk and uncertainty they face in the market. Their bylaws dictate that Delaware will handle legal affairs, which may discourage lawsuits against the company. They base their potential growth on predictions. Cybersecurity is under the Audit Committee's review. Rocket Lab works hard to collaborate with others to be aware of any potential cyber threats. To the extent that members of our management were to sell significant amounts of equity, we may have more difficulty in retaining and continuing to incentivize these members of management than we have historically. So what is the overall story here? Rocket Lab is an ambitious company that isn't just making rockets, it is trying to position itself as a full-service provider in the growing space industry. Their revenue is increasing, but they are still losing money. They face risks with new technology, increasing costs, and government regulations. They are dependent on the leadership of Peter Beck, the president, and other key personnel. The company has expanded into Canada and has plans for international reach. Overall, Rocket Lab has put itself in a good position but faces risks that need to be mitigated to be successful. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and comment.